Is that though in the 1980s, the development of this National Endowment for Democracy has really become, a cornerstone of a lot of these NGOs because they also finance other NGOs. I always found this to be fascinating because with political propaganda, one often attempts to develop, mental shortcuts for having people interpret the world very simply as us being good, others evil. And of course, source credibility is always important, which is why the ability to advance a foreign policy through a humanitarian NGO is the ideal instrument, because now all geopolitics is simply a struggle for human rights and human dignity. What do we know about the origin and the purpose of it?
I do want to codify, if you will, the point you just made about the credibility of NGOs. I think I have this quote memorized. This is from the CEPS program. It's the Consortium for Excellence in Political Process Strengthening. It is a joint program that is run by the State Department, sponsored by USAID, and technically implemented by the National Endowment for Democracy. So this is all three corners of that kind of intelligence front statecraft operation. They have a quote on this where they say, "Government has the money, but not the credibility. Civil society has the credibility, but not the money. And this is why the government must fund civil society to run its talking points for them," is essentially what they say. They are acutely aware, Glenn, of what you just described. The story behind the National Endowment for Democracy is a fascinating one. In the 1940s, for example, in April 1948, the State Department policy planning staff put out a national security memo. It was called The Inauguration of Organized Political Warfare. It was written by George Kennan. And in that memo, the State Department lays out how the CIA is going to have to carry out organized political warfare under cloak of civil society and NGOs and voluntary citizen committees and councils that would be fronts for statecraft. And it's a fantastic memo. I recommend everyone in your audience look this up. It's called The Inauguration of Organized Political Warfare. It was written 12 days after the CIA's first successful regime change operation, or I should say election rigging operation. It was the Italian election in 1948, the first democratic vote after World War II in Italy, which pitted a US-UK-backed pro-democracy candidate against a Soviet-backed pro-communist candidate. This is how it was pitched. It worked with mafia unions, it worked with Hollywood, it worked with Catholic charities, it pumped money into media organizations, and all manner of kind of the sort of dirty tricks that we would call a national security threat if they were done here, but it was very successful. This was a good thing that we did it, but essentially the State Department decided at that moment that this is something that we should operationalize around the world.